All around the world, protein-enriched diets, especially containing dairy, are all the rage at present.
It's a global trend and Australia is part of that.
Consumers are really understanding the benefit of dairy protein and its nutrition.
Demand for dairy protein is in overdrive.
Whey protein is the hottest protein going around. The demand is through the charts. I mean, the American manufacturers have basically sold out their protein for the rest of the year. They're actually looking to source from, the Australasian region now to get more stock because they just don't have enough.
It's going into countless products, from protein-enriched milk to energy bars.
It is mind-blowing to see the range of products that milk goes into.
The number of products that now claim to have additional protein is impressive.
You've seen that in, protein corn chips and, cakes and all that type of stuff.
But it's dairy protein that's most in demand.
I think that our market for the whey and just having protein in general is definitely increasing.
But what exactly is whey? In short, it's the watery yellowish liquid that separates from milk curds during the cheese or yogurt making process. In recent years, this protein-rich component of milk has undergone a stunning transformation, from almost a waste product to a premium, highly digestible dietary protein supplement, the equivalent of liquid gold.
If you go a while back, whey, which was considered a byproduct of cheese, would often go to pig food or sometimes even out onto the paddock, that type of thing.
These days, dairy processors are extracting every skerrick of protein from milk, converting it into protein powders.
Dairy proteins are seen as like the gold standard amongst all the protein sources. Reason being, it's got the full amino acid profile that a lot of the plant proteins don't have. Also, it tastes great, it's easy to drink, and it has a number of applications.
The value of those has gone quite exponential, and the demand for that has probably outstripped the demand for cheese.
It's made by a process called ultrafiltration that separates out the protein, which is then dried into powder form.
So what we're able to do with the filtration processes is make sure we optimise the protein content in the products that we're producing. So you might have your standard, we produce quite a lot of UHT milk for white milk for your cereal. That's typically at a say 3.5% protein, but then we want to produce products at an elevated protein content to give you that extra boost of protein.
This rapidly expanding frontier includes innovative dairy companies such as Noumi. Based in Shepparton, in the centre of a rich dairying region of northern Victoria, the company's stated values of positive nutrition and sustainability through dairy and plant-based beverages and nutritionals.
Fundamentally, our main ingredient being bovine dairy milk is one of the most nutritious foods that is available.
Tom, really the star performer in dairy has been whey and milk protein.
Yeah, we've seen a real shift. I think over the last 20 years, whey has been predominant and really in that, I guess, that gym junkie type product. But what we're seeing now is that it's across the age group. So we're getting nutrition from children all the way through to the elderly. That's really driving that demand in milk protein.
All of Australia's major milk processors and most smaller ones have invested in factories to meet this growing consumer demand, including Bega Cheese, one of Australia's largest dairy processors and food companies. It sources milk from around 600 farms on the eastern seaboard, and its diverse range of dairy products account for approximately $3.5 billion in annual turnover. Whey only accounts for 20% of the protein in milk. Casein, used to produce cheese, makes up the other 80%. And Australia's domestic milk price is greatly influenced by global dairy production. For dairy farmers here, a world oversupply of milk and butter in the past few years is forecast to keep prices subdued for a little while yet.
A little over 8 billion litres. We're consuming these days around 65% of that production. We export around 35%. That goes into the big powder markets of Asia, the cheese markets of Japan and Southeast Asia as well.
But the brightest note in the ANZ Bank's latest quarterly agribusiness report is undoubtedly the upward tick for protein. It signals new demand, new markets and new customers.
And this is not just a protein powder, gym junkie kind of exercise. This is protein across the demographic for general health and well-being, for specific purposes, for all kinds of longevity to an ageing population.
The ANZ report details that milk consumption is also on the rise, again propelled by protein.
We are seeing in Australia, as an example, since September last year, a rise in liquid milk consumption for the first time in a long time. And that's really driven by flavoured milks and those milks that have the protein additives, which points towards that popular consumption trend that you're talking about.
That's some rare good news for Australia's dairy farmers, who've endured several years of tough seasonal conditions and subdued returns. At Blighty in southern New South Wales, it's time to fetch the cows for the afternoon milking.
We're milking 260 cows at the moment. We'll get up to 300 to 350 in October. 3 generations of the family are currently working on the farm at the moment with a couple of backpackers and a full-time employee. As a family, it's really great to see the fresh milk demand and byproduct demand. It gives me a good feeling about our kids' future and their kids' futures. We've got 3 generations actively working on the farm at the moment.
Including Rachel's daughter, Tabitha. 2 of her other kids are also dairy farmers on a neighbouring farm. The farm gate price that dairy farmers get for their milk is based on its fat and protein content, what's termed milk solids. And dairy processors are increasingly chasing protein.
They're being paid a higher price for the protein than the fat component. And that is really about where the value is in those components.
Whey is now a multi-billion-dollar global industry and the best-selling protein supplement in the world. In the USA, the average supermarket has about 40,000 items that have extra protein, everything from pretzels through to yogurt. And demand for that is expected to double within the next decade.
As you would know, Australia tends to probably follow the trends from other countries, and it's been very popular in America for the last probably 3 to 4 years.
At his Melbourne factory, Danny Rotman is already busy meeting that surging demand. Danny's a former lawyer who identified this trend and co-founded a company almost 20 years ago. Last year he built a much-needed bigger factory.
Nutrilabs is a third-party contract manufacturer, so we are working with household brands, nutrition brands, retailers to make their products, principally high-protein products, dairy-based and non-dairy also.
His clients include some of Australia's biggest milk companies, blending whey powder into an ever-expanding product range.
There's a range of convenient forms that people will have protein in to help with satiety and also to help with muscle building. Whether it's protein shakes, which is the most common, but also there are ready-to-eat and ready-to-drink formats, so protein bars and also long-life protein drinks.
There are now specialty superstores selling an ever-growing range of protein and vitamin supplements.
There's been a proliferation of places where it's being sold. I guess over time it's evolved. It used to be just in supplement stores and gyms, and then we've seen it go full mass market. So it's now in major grocers, pharmacy channels and supplement stores.
So you only have to go into, say, a supermarket and walk up to the refrigeration shelf, and you'll see the range of ready-to-drink chocolate-type milks or strawberries that are available with that higher protein content.
The age range of consumers is also widening.
I definitely would probably say between your 25 to your 45, but we're definitely getting some more your older generation as well. Still getting definitely that younger base too, but I'd probably say more of that middle bracket is becoming very, very popular.
It's even extending to the froth on our coffees.
One of our dairy nutritional powders is going to Starbucks, where you can get a serve of coffee with a protein foam on top of the coffee. So I guess how that serve of protein is getting to the consumer is now in various applications.
Some see it as part of a wider re-evaluation of where our food comes from.
I absolutely think so, and I think consumer confidence and trust is at an all-time high because during and post-COVID people had a chance to reconnect with where things came from and get back to basics.
Increased demand for whey protein has meant increased prices and shortages for some whey-based products.
We actually got an email saying that there was a shortage at one stage. There wasn't any manufacturing happening with it. So it was just kind of what we had on the shelf.
Protein products have now hit the mainstream markets.
It's my hope as a mother and a consumer that these trends are making protein cheaper at some stage or more readily available to younger people who have traditionally missed out because perhaps they weren't able to consume as much as they should have been for their dietary requirements.
Ultimately, we see a great future. We don't believe this is a fad that's going to move away. People understand the value of the nutrition in dairy, and it's going to continue to grow. So we see it as a really good future platform.
You know, protein is the buzzword of the 21st century.